The unified field of form, an exhaustive deep dive into a Davidson's shape powered an A. Davidson's shape. Power, a treatise on how form converts universal leather into electromagnetic and gravitic forces is a seminal work in alternative physics, presenting a framework that attempts to supersede 20th century physics by placing geometric shape at the center of all cosmic mechanics. The book's comprehensive argument moves from a foundational redefinition of the vacuum to proposals for free energy and anti-gravity technology, the redefinition of reality, Aetheric first principles. The entire architecture of shape power is built upon the rejection of modern physics' conclusion that the ether does not exist. Davidson proposes four core principles that form his new physical reality: A. The primal substance, the universal ether either as plenum, not vacuum. The absolute first principle is that space is not an empty vacuum, but a plenum, a space entirely filled with a non-electromagnetic, high-energy medium called the ether. Davidson equates this with the vast, omnipresent energy of the zero-point energies P field derived from quantum mechanics, though he attributes properties to it that are radically different from mainstream interpretations, the source of all forces in this model. The ether is the sole source of all observed forces. Electromagnetic energy, light, gravity, and even the existence of matter are all viewed as secondary manifestations resulting from etheric flow, pressure, or structured motion, be gravity as a dynamic ether fluorvising gravitation. Davidson posits that gravity is not a geometric curvature of spacetime general relativity, but a force of dynamic flow. Mass is conceptualized as a localized etheric sink or vortex that constantly absorbs the surrounding ether, gravitic force. The force we call gravity is simply the pressure exerted by the universal ether as it attempts to move into the mass sink, thus pushing all surrounding matter toward the center of the mass. This definition opens the door to gravitational engineering. See the principle of geometric transduction: shape as a converter. This is the core principle of shape power. Geometric forms, such as cones, spirals, tetrahedrons, and pyramids, are not passive. They act as transducers, devices that convert one form of energy to another. They are precisely tuned to resonate with the ether field, conditioning its flow into measurable, conventional energy, standing wave resonance. The specific contours of a shape create a localized, structured disturbance, a standing wave pattern in the etheric flow, which effectively draws, concentrates, and converts P into usable forces, electrostatic or electromagnetic energy. The geometry is the tuning mechanism. D. The morphology of matter, geometric atomic structure. Davidson applies his geometric principle to the microscale, defining a morphology of atomic structure. Atoms are not viewed as probabilistic clouds, but as stable, repeating, structured vortices of ether, new physics and chemistry. The shape and internal geometry of these vortices dictate the fundamental properties of an element: mass, charge, and chemical reactivity. This redefinition forms the embryonic basis for a new physics where changing the geometry of an energy field can result in changes to the fundamental nature of matter. Applied Aether Engineering. From Pyramids to Antigravity. Book transitions from theory to practical application, discussing historical mysteries and contemporary experiments that allegedly validate the ether geometry link. The pyramid as an etheric capacitance. And Aether Engineering. The Great Pyramid of Giza is presented as the supreme example of passive shape power. It is not considered a tomb but a massive, intelligently designed etheric energy collector and focuser, an engineer's solution. Golden ratio and resonance. Its geometry, built on the golden ratio and precise proportions, is seen as perfectly tuned to resonate with the Earth's natural energy grid, maximizing the ether conversion effect. Pyramid phenomena. Davidson synthesizes research on the documented anomalous effects within the pyramid, the preservation and dehydration of organic material often at a third the height, and the accumulation of non-conventional energy, for example, razor blade sharpening. Unusual electrostatic measurements, sonic modulation. The book also delves into the acoustic properties of the King's Chamber, hypothesizing that specific sound frequencies were used to modulate or amplify the etheric energy fields generated by the stone mass, linking sound or vibration to geometric energy control. B. Antigravity and gravitic repulsion. Engineering the ether sink. If gravity is an etheric flow, antigravity becomes a solvable engineering problem. The solution lies in Aether shielding, blocking the Aether flow to an object, counterflow, generating a repulsive flow of Aether outward to counteract the incoming gravitational pressure, the gravity wheel experiments. Davidson highlights his collaborative work and other research involving rotating geometric apparatus, such as the Parr Gravity Wheel, especially toothed wheel with specific copper elements. The premise is that the combination of high-speed rotation and geometric form creates a dynamic etheric field, resulting in measurable weight loss or even thrust, far exceeding what is predicted by conventional physics, for example. Biefeld-Brown effect, see Earth energies and ancient Plascementhe Earth grid. Davidson integrates the Aether into the planet's structure, viewing the Earth as being crisscrossed by concentrated paths of etheric flow, known historically as ley lines, megalithic alignment. Ancient sacred sites, like standing stones and temples, were intentionally located at the intersections of these ley lines to tap, amplify, and utilize the telluric etheric energy. This explains the spiritual significance ascribed to certain geographic locations and natural materials, a concept mirrored in the folklore and sacred stone use of your own Kamina Priya and elemental soul spiritual bracelets, the spiritual and personal applications. Implications of shape power extend to fields associated with personal well-being, mindfulness, and the occult, energetic medicine resinus healing, based on the idea that every shape affects the local Aether field. Davidson proposes a new branch of energetic medicine. This involves using specific 2D and 3D geometric patterns to generate and project specific etheric frequencies to the human body, aiming to harmonize or correct the body's own internal energy structures. This form of therapy would be non-invasive, using virtual geometric fields to produce real physiological changes, be amulets, talismans, and personal tuning wearable shape power on a personal scale. Objects like amulets or talismans are simply micro-scale etheric transducers. They are geometrically or materially designed like a crystal or stone bracelet to create a localized, beneficial etheric field around the wearer. Energy filtering, a properly designed pattern can be tuned to filter ambient energy, either attracting positive etheric flows for vitality or generating an antiphase field to repel disruptive negative energy. This principle directly supports the efficacy of spiritual jewelry and mindfulness tools based on form and material. IV, the academic counterpoint. Geometry in mainstream physics. While Davidson's theory is classified as fringe or alternative science lacking empirical validation under orthodox scientific method, the concept that geometry is fundamental to energy and matter is central to established high-level research, a topological field theory Stanford or Harvard context. Geometry determines force. In advanced fields like string theory and Calabi-Yau manifolds research, often led by figures at institutions like Harvard and Stanford, the geometry and topology of the extra-spatial dimensions are precisely what determine the properties of the elementary particles and the nature of the forces observed in our four-dimensional universe. In this context, the specific shape of the curled-up dimensions is the ultimate determinant of reality at a high level. Though non-etheric, validation of geometry's power, be engineered geometry in applied physics metamaterial, modern engineering exploits geometry to control energy. Metamaterials use sub-wavelength geometric patterning to achieve electromagnetic properties not found in nature, effectively using shape to manipulate light and radio waves in specific, engineered ways. For example, cloaking devices, energy efficiency in design. In civil engineering, research rigorously quantifies how the geometry surface area to volume ratio of buildings dictates energy consumption, heating, cooling. This is a macro-level, quantifiable demonstration that shape directly dictates energy dynamics. Conclusion: shape power is a detailed manifesto for a new cosmic order where the universe is a living, energetic field governed by the universal language of geometry. By re-establishing the Aether as the primary reality and defining shape as the master key to its conversion, Dan A. Davidson offers a powerful, unified theory that attempts to explain ancient mysteries, validate spiritual practices, and chart a course toward breakthrough energy and propulsion technologies.